It's Monday, and that was a picture of the supermoon. They say we won't see it again for more than 18 years. And that hasn't been that big or that close to the earth, if you will, since 1948. So there's a very good possibility at my age I won't see it again. And I decided to take a photo of it, and I hope you enjoy it. Supermoon taken on November the 14th, 2016, seen from the deck of Tryon, North Carolina on Melrose Mountain. I decided to stop and study for a couple of days and to begin a new series on spiritual warfare. I doubt seriously that there's not one person that watches this video series that doesn't go through spiritual warfare. I certainly do. And it would be a bad mistake for me to share with you those areas where I struggle, because that's all you'd think of every time you saw me, and probably be a bad mistake for you to tell me what you struggle with for the same reasons. Nevertheless, in starting this series, I think it's important to understand the three places that spiritual warfare comes from. The first one is Satan. In 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8, it says, "Be of sober spirit, be on alert. Your adversary," that is your enemy, the devil, "prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour." There's no verse of scripture probably that I can think of anyway that would more emphatically describe the spiritual warfare that we're going to have as a result of Satan being in this world. The second one is one that I've titled, since I wanted 3 words with S, the second one is the sorry. Now, the sorry can be enemies that you have here that are human. They can be misguided friends. They can be family. And for an example, I use tonight Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. "Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up with the discipline and instruction of the Lord." What that verse implies, not only does it direct us to bring them up with discipline and instruction, but it also implies that we as parents, we as fathers, can provoke our children to anger. Now, that means that it's not just Satan, but it's also the sorry of this world. It may be a mate who's very careless about how they treat their mate. It can be a father, a mother. It can be a brother, a sister. It can be an employer or an employee. It can be anybody. Even Christians can provoke one another and become a matter of spiritual warfare. Pastors can provoke their members. Members can provoke their pastors. It's discouraging to me when I hear a pastor make some kind of a statement like, "Well, I've written them off." That's a bad mistake. At the same time, I think it's just as tragic when a member says, "I'll not be happy until our pastor's gone." You see, it's not just Satan. It can be the sorry of this world. The ones who don't think, the ones who are careless, or the ones who deliberately try to provoke one another. You say, "Well, what is the third one, Pastor?" It's self. It's probably the one that's the biggest enemy, the one that causes more spiritual warfare than any. And I've selected for the verse tonight, 1 John 2:16. "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the boastful pride of life is not from the Father, but from the world." The lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. The 3 areas of self that we struggle with. We look where we shouldn't look. We wind up desiring what we shouldn't desire. and we have such ego and pride. Now, it's different for males and females by and large. Males struggle much more with the lust of the eye. Males struggle certainly with the lust of the flesh, but maybe women struggle more there. I think we equally struggle with the pride of life, ego, self-centeredness, and pride. So if you're going through spiritual warfare, probably the first thing that you need to recognize is, where is the attack coming from? You can't be like Flip Wilson, who said years and years ago, the devil made me do it. Satan can tempt, but he can't make you do it. And sometimes it's a combination of three. Sometimes it's yourself, who are caught up in one of the lusts of the flesh, brought on by sorry people around you, and then Satan sits on your shoulder and feeds you those lines that cause you to sin and have spiritual warfare. Try to identify where it's coming from. It may be coming from multiple sources, but it's sure helpful to know who your enemy is. And I gotta tell you, lots of times my worst enemy is me. That's your thought for the day. God bless you. Stay tuned for the answers to how to control these things. It's your thought for the day. God bless you. Have a good night.